Hey, fourth graders, welcome back to poetry. Today is lesson number 2. And for lesson number 2, we're actually just going to be looking at the poem you wrote yesterday for lesson number 1 and thinking how we can improve it by placing phrasing and sentence breaks in. So if some of you started to write your poems yesterday and you wrote something that looks similar to this, and I know because I just taught to my students and a lot of their poems look like this. This is not what a poem should look like. This looks like a paragraph out of a story. For example, if I read it this way, like a paragraph, it might sound like, goldfish flash gold and silver scales. They flick and slip away under green weed, but round brown snails stick to the glass and stay. Do you see how I read it like a paragraph? So it actually sounds just like an informational paragraph and not like a poem at all. Well, poems should have phrasing. And you can get there, I think I said this yesterday, get there by kind of saying the paragraph in a breathless way. Like say phrases like goldfish flash, gold and silver. Did you hear how I went goldfish flash? I paused, gold and silver. I probably could have put scales in there too. Gold and silver scales. So you're going to want to try to find these pauses in the poem that you wrote yesterday. So let's look at how I could switch this paragraph up into a poem. Well, goodness. I even did more phrasing than I was just talking about because I have just goldfish on the first line. Goldfish flash. Gold and silver scales. They flick and slip away under green weeds, but round brown snails stick to the glass and stay. Doesn't this now sound more like a poem than it did when I read it like this? It's the same exact words, only this one was written or read to you like a paragraph, like an informational paragraph out of a science book, say. And then I took the exact same words and put in line breaks and phrasing and pausing, and now it sounds like a poem. So that's what I'm going to want you to do today. Is you're going to be you don't have to write a new poem today. It can be your same object with meaning, and you're going to go and take that poem, and maybe yours looks like this, maybe yours looks only a little bit like this, and you're going to take it and put in those pauses or phrases and make it sound like a poem. Here's another example for you. This is your turn to try. Before you go and do yesterday's poem, let's practice a little bit more. I'm going to read this paragraph, and it doesn't even look like a poem right now, does it? Fireworks cracking in the sky, big buds of fire bursting into bloom and fading upon the dark, lonely sky. It's a paragraph. But what if you broke it up the right way and put in some phrasing and some stopping? Well, I'd like you to stop here in the video, push pause, get your whiteboards, and take just this little bit here and put it into a poem, okay? After you've done that, show your teacher, and then you'll be moving from this activity. And it doesn't have to be the same. I wanted to make sure to tell you guys that. The phrasing doesn't have to look exactly the same. One student could have stopped, like I did just a few minutes ago. One student could have stopped with goldfish flash. And then another student could have went goldfish flash. Neither one is right. Neither one is wrong. I mean, they're all whatever you want to make them, okay? And so that's the same with this one on your turn. So pause me here and do how you think it would sound really good with phrasing and sound like a poem, okay? When you turn it back on, go through with your teacher, share examples with each other, and then after that, you will go back to yesterday's Pear Deck. Notice first page is going to be your poem, and so you could take your poem right from here. You don't have to do any major changing, and take down to page 4 where it says your object with meaning, poem 2, and fix it up so that you have those good line breaks, those phrases, and so it looks and sounds like a poem. If you wanted the example that we did with goldfish, it is right here. I have the paragraph that we just read and how they put it into a poem. And so that example will be available for you to look at. Okay? All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. See you next time.